Now, when you talk about the sun, S.K. Dhakaji, we were referring to the corona, a lot of, the other layers in the sun. But when you look at the sun, that is itself such a powerful celestial body. I mean, do we need different kind of equipments to be able to watch it with the kind of that temperature and a lot of these solar storms and all that Dr. Jitendra Singh also mentioned?
I think let me tell you briefly that because there are many institutes which have made all these instruments payloads in a different way.
Yes.
For instance, like Indian Institute of Astrophysics from Bangalore, then Pune, Ayuka, then Physical Research Laboratory, Ahmedabad, and Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. So these are the different organizations who are working on a different aspect, and they design their own instruments. And therefore, now you can understand that how important it would be because they are working for a long time to observe a particular phenomena. Somebody is focusing on like X-ray part, somebody is on coronagraph, somebody is on looking for the particle detectors like this. So because it is so exciting, like to observe many things which is coming from the sun. Like Professor Kapoor mentioned, you are having a CME, corona mass ejections. So they are also very important. And we must understand that how powerful they are, how much energy is coming. And in fact, if you see that for a long term, as I mentioned, like 11 years, from scientific point of view, it also affects our cloud formation for 11 years. It also affects our wind direction, wind speed, and it controls our atmosphere. So there are two ways. You might have mentioned, listen many times that there is a global warming, but at the same time, the lower Earth temperature and upper atmosphere temperature is also controlled by the sun activity on a 11-year solar cycle. So probably we can understand in a much better way. I'd like to mention, I forgot that Indian Institute of Geomagnetism in Mumbai, there is another institute where they are taking the magnetic activity, they are capturing all this time, and they are having the real-time observations. So probably if you add all this would be really very helpful.
So because you spoke about the weather and a lot of other, these changes, and I think technology again is something that has transformed the way we see things, the way perhaps the future is going to come forward. So RC Kapoorji, why don't you wait on this? A lot of our viewers who are watching the broadcast also want to know what happens next. Like what will be the biggest takeaway from this huge feat that India today has been able to achieve, apart from the fact that, the scientific community, perhaps in collaboration with a lot of other international institutes and equal study partners might want to, just read the surface of the sun, how it behaves and a lot of other things. But how does this even affect the common man, sir?
See, one thing is that in the area of sciences, we cannot say what benefit we are going to get next day or in the next year or next decade. The science is science, and for its own sake, we pursue. And there is a technological fallout always. In fact, of all the space programs, there has been quite much of technological benefit that has gone out to the common public. So that is another thing. Apart from that, see, our knowledge about the sun, however much we have known about it as it's being our nearest star, still we always feel that there is quite a lot to learn. Because as we go deeper and deeper, we find newer things, and then we need better equipment, we need some extraordinary kind of coverage. So in that sense, there is always a scope for progress in any area in sciences. So here, it's not that next day, once these shutters are open, the instruments start churning out the data, because there is a lot of fine-tuning and calibration, and then scientists have to become sure that the data they are receiving is clean in the sense that it's believable, and also that we can sort of say with confidence that we have found out certain things. One thing in the case of coronagraph, as was mentioned, that we are looking at solar corona all the time, which is a remarkable sort of gain, because most of the time scientists are struggling with their instruments and only waiting for the total solar eclipse to happen, and they have to travel thousands of kilometers. But the kind of observations they are able to make at the time of a total solar eclipse is very high quality. Coronagraph comes sufficiently close to that, and a space-based coronagraph is very, very close to it. But since a large number of observations are going to be taken, so obviously when we have cleaned it up of all kinds of noise and errors and all that, we are going to have quite a gold mine of data so far as outermost layers of the solar atmosphere are concerned, the solar wind is concerned, or as anything that happens on the sun and it's going to directly affect the Earth's atmosphere, that also we are going to understand and learn much more. See, as I said, our technological life is now so much sort of affected by what happens on the sun. So obviously, such a observatory is to our advantage only. See, for the common man who is using a mobile phone is getting sort of benefited in an indirect way. It's not in the form of any worldly gains, but knowledge, and apart from that, how our various agencies are advancing, progressing, and also creating sort of scope for future work, and then obviously that gives rise to further employment, and also in the area of education, there's quite a lot of contribution that happens from this side, because it's not just direct teaching, but whatever is being, whatever results are coming, when they are taken to the public in the simplest terms, they try to get a better feel of what the world is about. So we must know how things happen in our surroundings, in the outer space. So at different levels, it's a spread of knowledge, and in an indirect way, advantages of the technology that are also reaching. See, there was it was the feeling of Dr. Vikram Sarabhai that space technology must benefit the last denomination of the country. That he felt in the early 60s. So imagine at a time when we were not yet sufficient in our food production, India ventured in the direction of space research. That was a remarkable thing. We have stuck to that, and today you see where we are. See, you would have seen those images where rocket parts are being carried on a cycle, and you, on the another hand, you are seeing the mighty GSLV Mark III rocket filling your screens. So it's a great achievement India has made. I'm sure in the times to come, there will be much more to feel proud of.